can't do that. So, yes, go ahead, Lou.
When you're door knocking, is it better to go around one person or a team of two?
I think a team of 2 is always best. That's what I suggest. If you have people to spare, you know what I mean? If you don't, then you're better off sending people individually so that you can maximize the number of doors that you get. Somebody had asked about what you say when you come to the door.
Right.
I usually just say, hi, my name is Anna, I'm a volunteer with FreedomWorks. And, you know, I'm here to give you this information on Tom Smith. You know, and then I talk to 20 seconds, as quickly as possible, about who Tom Smith is and why I think this person should vote for Tom Smith. And then you have to gauge how the conversation goes. Some people will be like, yeah, I've heard about him. I always ask, have you heard about him? You know, I've heard about him, yes, I'm going to vote for him. So on my iPhone, I can click right there, yes, he's going to vote for Tom Smith. That person drops off the database, that person will never get a door knock from FreedomWorks again. So if that person says, no, I've never heard of Tom Smith, I'm going to think about it, doesn't give you a straight answer, I mark that on my iPhone, and that person is going to be visited again closer to the election.
All right, I have done this before, and I said, I got to say something important to this individual, or they're going to brush me off. So I normally say, ma'am, are you an American patriot? That requests an answer. Yes. If you're an American patriot and you are concerned about the future of our country, here's something that I think you should be aware of. Thank you for your time. Out.
Yeah.
So you're not bothering them. I've heard an awful lot of complaints at night. The other night I was out to dinner with friends talking about the amount of calls being made by the political banks, 3, 4, and 5, you know, to the point that people are no longer answering the phone.
And again, the problem is, and it's not a problem, it's actually great. We have all these different organizations that have gotten involved. So you've got the Republican Party, you've got AFP, you've got Freedom, even though AFP makes different calls because you're not really supposed to call for candidates, right?
Yeah, we can't call for
Yeah, you can't call for candidates, we can.
Economic freedom.
Right, right. But you have AMA, and so these people are all making phone calls. What I can assure you is, people will not get a phone call from FreedomWorks twice. If they say, yes, I'm voting for Tom Smith, Mitt Romney, they get dropped off the database. So if they are not sure, they will get the phone call again from us.
Okay.
And another thing, as far as Levittown goes, you might have neighborhoods like this, it's like 70% Democrat down there. And so, you know, to get out the vote for Mike Fitzpatrick in Levittown, we need to knock on Democratic doors. So what we did was we dropped off the super Democrats and we concentrated on the soft ones. And the woman who's running is a complete communist. She is so far to the left. So it's basically, when I was door knocking, I would say, I'm here for support for Mike Fitzpatrick because he's a local guy. And then I would go into the rest of the candidates. Would you mind looking at the rest? And they're like, oh, Mike Fitzpatrick. And then I would slip in the rest of the Republican ticket because it's hard to. So whatever candidate is the people are most comfortable with, you know, you can't go up to a Democratic door and talk about Romney, the top of the ticket, or Tom Smith. You can talk about Mike Fitzpatrick because he's the congressman from Levittown. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of gauge the area and understand the demographic of the area.
And the other thing that we do not suggest is that you knock for too many candidates at the same time. You're not gonna get a vote for anybody that way. 3 max. So usually what we're doing is Mitt Romney, Tom Smith, and our congressman. So we're helping with one state race in our area, which is really important. Bucks County, we have a lot of Republicans, but they are rhinos. And this woman, if we get her in, she can really shake things up in Harrisburg for the Southeast because she'll be a Tea Party state rep for us. But then we have people specifically door knocking just for that race. You know what I mean? Because that race is that important.
Would you have any suggestions for retirement where you have a concentration of individuals?
What we have done, we have a Ann's Choice in Warminster. They are allowed to, right over here, this size, they have like in-house mailboxes. It's not their mailbox. It's like more like a cubby. And we have a volunteer who's going to stuff every mailbox in there, which is like 4,000 of these.
But you have to ask for permission.
You have to ask for
How
permission.
about permits? I'm aware of that.
How about permits? Different communities require permits.
And, you know, for example, I know Ann's Choice permit policy, and we already are, so what it is this area, if you know one, find out ahead of time so that you can, a few days before the election, if there's, you know, Ann's Choice, there's 3,000 voters in that. So we have that all worked out already. But find out the rules of that community.
Well, most of them are apolitical,
Right.
But you're allowed to put,
but yes, you can.
you can do the cubbies, you can't put it in their mailbox.
That is correct.
Yes.
I was just gonna say, if you are going door to door, it's better to have a male and a female in today's world. A lot of people are not really comfortable if they just have two males coming to the door. So, I mean, if you have a group of people and you can do that, I think it works better to have a male and a female.
And if you have,
Even
like,
if it's a
if
child.
you have a young
it's a girl.
teenager, you could do the driving and have them like, you know, especially the last few days, like a lot of times you're gonna be doing lit drops. You're gonna be, you know, like, let me just do the door hanger thing and just paper the neighborhood. That's when you get like two teams of teenagers to boom, 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 boom.
Well, and as far as the retirement communities, what we've been able to get their help on is the train stations and the church parking lots. That's, just like we have the 10 sign guys that did the sign blitzes for us on Friday nights, we have the Ends Choice, the retirement community, blitzing the church parking lots with, on Sundays, you know, they put the stuff, the door hangers on the cars, the literature on the cars, and then they do the train stations in the morning during the rush hour, and in the afternoon during the rush hour, they hand literature to people, and that was really effective.
And what I'm working on right now, when I was in Levittown last weekend, the reason I keep on bringing this up is because it's further down county from where I'm at, that I was able to take the stacks, and there's 3 different train stations there. So 3 of the volunteers, not only did I have them door knock, like, so they came there for the corner rally, I got them to knock on those doors, and then I left them with another job, because people want to be helpful, they want to do something. I'm like, will you take this stack? You know, do you live by a train station? Yes, I live by. So I was able to identify 3 different people that lived by 3 different train stations and gave them materials that they are going to give out. You know, they're going to pick a day and they're like, I promise you, I'm going to go there. And as people get off the 5:30 train, boom, 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 boom. You can put them on the car. It's better if you give it to them as they're coming off. And, you know, I said if you can't do that, you know, put them on the car. So anyway, these are all the kinds of things that we can do. Like if you can get one person in your group, take a stack of those Barack Obama KC things and stand at a train station and hit the people as they're coming off. It's huge.
At this point, it's about education. A lot of people still need to be educated. So those little palm cards are great because it's short, it's sweet, people will glance at it and they'll remember it, you know? So,
And what's great about the Ends Choice guys is they do the AM runs. They're getting up really early and they're doing they do the AM as people are going onto the train. So then they have something to look at as they're driving in.
Yeah, you get a chance to talk to people
Exactly.
You know, so-
at 7 in the morning.
So
6 in the
I
morning.
suggest that more, but it's harder to get volunteers to do that. So if you have anybody that's willing to do the AM route, the train, it's
Before
better.
work, yeah.
so one more question, then we have to move on, because otherwise we're gonna be off schedule, and he's gonna get mad at me.
What's policy for senior health care homes? In other words, you have a group of seniors who are rehabilitating or there for sickness. What, is there a policy?
A lot of times, this is, you know, this is, they will do the absentee ballots. And I know
Okay.
that the Democrats and the Republicans are both on that, and I think the Republicans really need to do a good job. And what they're doing is, a lot of times they're filling out the paperwork for them, and, you know, sometimes they have the staff fill them out, and if you have a Democratic staff, it's really touchy. A lot of those seniors that are in those are doing the absentee ballots. And, you know, I'm a person that counts the votes at the end, and you can see, and there's one, and you can see the handwriting, and you're like, oh man, did they even, the X is totally clear, but the signature is, so.
Just real quick,
Okay.
community days. I mean, September, all through September, there
Yes.
seems to be a lot of,
Take as much time as you want.
Okay,
There's no rush.
you're not gonna be mad at me?
No, not as long as you're gonna say.
I'm
pictures
kidding,
on the beach.
I'm just joking. Picture on the beach. No, real quick, before we go
Take
into
your
this,
time.
we are, after the break, we're gonna do a live call with the phone bank system. But what I wanted to say about that is, the phone bank system is so convenient, because you can make calls from home. We're opening a FreedomWorks headquarter office to make phone calls on Monday in our area, but simply because Bucks County can really call the election. So we looked and saw, where should we open? We have funds for one office. Where are we going to do it? And we decided Bucks County because it was so effective in 2010. But I know a lot of you will not be able to drive to Bucks County, but you can make the calls from home. And what we suggest that you do is that you have phone banking parties. You don't have to do it alone. You can do it alone if you want to, but you can also have phone banking parties and have somebody coordinate that and have 10 people
As long as
together.
you have Wi-Fi.
The phone, as you will see later in the program, you can make the phone calls from your cell phone or from a landline. So either way, it works. So, and some people like to work in groups. So I suggest that if you want to organize phone banking parties on the weekends, it's a great way to have fun and get something done. So there it is, FreedomWorks for America. Okay, so then I'm going to click on make phone calls. See my cursor right there?
Down west.
Sorry, the connection here is slow. All right, and then you're going to log in, click to log in with my Freedom Connector username and password, which we already created at that other website. So here I go, I put my email address, I think this is it. I have so many different email addresses, I never know which one I'm using. All right, so I'm in the phone bank, and I'm going to go up here and click on begin calling.
All right, clear your voice, Anastasia. Ready?
I know.
So here, you click on this, and it will show all the different races that we can make calls for. And these are all Senate races across the country. Obviously, we want to go to Tom Smith, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Click OK. Do you want to use my phone? Okay. So now you decide whether you're going to use your cell phone or your landline. I usually, when I'm home, I use my landline and I put it on. I go to a quiet room and I put it on speakerphone because then it frees me up to just type. So I'm going to input my cell phone. I'm using my cell phone tonight.
Ignore the soft phone. It doesn't really work. So if you see there it says regular or cell phone, that's the only button you want to click.
So there it is. I pick cell phone / regular phone. I input my cell phone number, click on OK. All right, so this is the page where the session will begin.
And let's go through the questions
Yes.
really quick.
You want to do that? I'll scroll down.
So if I get a live call, I'm going to say this is going to be Bonita Adar, so I don't want to mess up her last name, especially me, like with my last name being for Bill Mayer. I immediately know that it's a telemarketer if they say it's Miss.
Just use the first name.
So I'm going to say it's Bonita there. And then I'm going to say hi, and I always say Anna, just because it's shorter and easier. My name is Anna, and I'm a volunteer for FreedomWorks for America. Do you plan on voting November 6th?
Here's the question. So then you have to click here.
And I also want to, before I go into all this, I'm going to say this, it's only going to take 40 seconds. Can I have 40 seconds? Because some people don't want to, if they think it's going to be long.
Here's the thing about this. The first 5 to 10 phone calls are difficult, and you have to read the script because you're not used to it. After you spend some time doing them, they become second nature. You even know the questions by heart, and you don't have to read the script at all. You just improvise. Just remember to be short. Don't try to keep them on the phone for very long. And like Anastasia said, in the beginning, announce this is only going to take a couple of minutes because otherwise they may think it's going to be a 10-minute survey and they're going to hang up on you.
Right.
So
then,
so you would click here and put the answer to the question. So this is why it's easier if you're hands-free.
and what I would say is instead of reading it like that, I would say, do you know who you're planning on voting for? Do you have your mind made up? Because some people won't even know who the candidates are. So that question there, which of the two candidates, if they don't know who they are, I would say, well, I'm here supporting Tom Smith. If you knew that Bob Casey voted in favor of Obama's health care law, did you know that? If you knew that Bob Casey voted for the 2008 bank bailout, also known as TARP, would that make you more or less likely? And then would you consider voting for Tom Smith? It says here, help elect Tom Smith. That might be a little, depending on the person's phone, you have to really gauge the person on the phone. If they're all gung-ho, you can go there. If they're like apprehensive, would you consider voting for him? If they say yes, then you can push for more information, which is a contact, like an email. But the likelihood of getting that is very slow, so don't push very low. So don't push too hard, because you don't want to turn them off. So this is all a loose thing. Now let's go to voicemail scripts real
Yeah,
quick.
so, but real quick, this script is gonna change. This is the script that we're using right now. The voters that are, like we talked about this before, the voters that say that they're gonna vote for Tom Smith for sure, once we plug that in, they get dropped off. The ones that are undecided, we will be calling again, but we're gonna get a new script in the near future that's gonna be more, are you voting for Mitt Romney? Are you planning on voting for Tom Smith? It's gonna be all about the candidate. It's not gonna talk about issues at all. But that comes a little later. We're now trying to gauge the ones that are yes for sure, so we don't bother with them anymore, okay? So you, don't be surprised if by the time you do a phone call, if it's in the next 2 weeks, it might be a different script by then. So, okay, so you want me to go to voicemails?
Yes.
So if you don't get a caller, if you get a voicemail, you click here, and there's the script, you can leave a message.
And so it's a different script, and you can leave a message. So we'll go back and we'll do the live call now. Because it's 8 o'clock, we're getting into that point where people are putting their kids to bed.
But real quick, when it's over, we come down here, and you decide what, no answer, wrong number. Then you end the call session. If you're gonna make more calls, you don't submit and hang up. Right? No, it's the opposite. You don't hang up.
You submit and bring up that call.
And then the phone, because the system does everything automatically. We'll make a couple of calls so you see how it works. The phone will ring again to the next, your phone will ring. You don't have to call them. The software does it for
After
you.
each call, when you're done making calls, you hit this button, end session.
Like when you're done for the day.
When you're done, because
When you're
your
done,
phone
yeah.
will keep on ringing, it will call the next caller for you, and this will ring, and I'll just wait for them to be wrong, and then start another call. So, I don't know if everybody's gonna be able to hear, but we'll try. But do you get the gist of it? This is the first time it happens, so it will work, I promise it works. Lou has seen it, it worked at his Tea
Well,
Party
it just worked
meeting.
twice, it just didn't advance us.
But usually what would happen is I hit the submit and hang up green button. And when you go to the top, it has the next voter, and your phone rings again, and you're connected to the next voter. And then when you're done, you hit end call session, and you're done. So you decide how many phone calls you're gonna make, what time you're gonna make, when you're gonna make them. It's totally flexible. So that's it. So that is the phone banking. Does anybody have any questions?
If somebody gives you a hard time, yeah, but I don't want to talk to you, or I'm definitely voting for, or I'm not registered.
Are you?
Goodbye.
Okay.
How do you go?
I think what's effective is, I always like to have a little like I kind of think in my head before I make the calls, okay, if somebody asks me about a question of healthcare, what am I gonna answer? I got that at the last Tea Party meeting. I had to talk about healthcare to a voter. So, if it's either gonna be healthcare or the economy are gonna usually be the questions that you're gonna be getting from voters. So have a short little blurb that you can, put out there very quick in 20 seconds to educate them. So, and don't get into a huge debate. Don't spend 30 minutes on a phone call because it's a waste of your time. If they want 30 minutes of your time, they're probably not going to vote for your candidate. So I've never had to do that. Okay.
And that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Now call our boss and say that we didn't do